very fortunate, like especially those who are interested in ratings, should be very happy that the Polish people are not that rich.
That they can't travel more?
Yeah, because if you travel to the States, fucking decimate.
Yeah. That's why they have to make good tournaments, so they want to go to them. And they can decimate them in their own country.
But then they go like, I don't want to go there because it's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
You moved to Latvia. That's on you. I wouldn't be here if not for you.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
I've never been in Latvia before I met. Well,
really?
No, well, not.
I'm sure you've driven through. Or
Oh yeah, once when I was going to Minsk.
Yeah.
So one time.
Going to Minsk, that says it all.
Yeah.
On the way to Belarus.
Yeah. In a bus in the middle of the night.
You took a bus?
Yeah.
Were
Ami
you
had
scared?
this. No, Ami had this time.
Guys, you are live.
Oh, okay.
Just take a better chair. It's softer. Let's change chairs.
No, I'm good. I don't want to. I'm good. Very nice. Will you be doing announcing? Like some spectator, ring leader, lion master, whatever?
Okay, I'll answer to the audience.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is for the audience. We're about to go live in 3 minutes.
So is the sound already live?
I think so. This is why it's good to have headphones.
Yeah.
So good here.
Kind of an amazing
So this was back then. Ami had this thing that he didn't want to fly because he got, environmental things. So then he said, hey, let's go, let's take a bus. And then we took a bus, which was fortunate because not a lot of people couldn't come because of the fighting.
Could you start talking something, so I could check?
Okay.
Okay. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear? Yes.
Are we live
ready?
currently? Okay. So we're live.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm Kristine Rinka. I'm here with Miro Lahtela from Finland.
Almost. Yes. Good.
We good to go?
So right now we're going to be doing the longsword pools. The finals will be at the end of the evening. So basically we have one fighter from Estonia, one from Latvia, and one from Lithuania. And they will be fighting each other in a pool of 3 to see which 2 will go on to the 5-bout finals later on. Right now we have Dmitry from Estonia, he's in red, and Vincas in blue from Lithuania. Now Dmitry was selected by his Estonian delegation, whereas in Lithuania they had a qualifier with 8 people, and he beat the other 7 to make it to this championship. We had the same in Latvia. We had a qualifier, and you'll see Roland's later on.
So, judging for the longsword, we have a team from Finland: Mikko Lehto, Ville Välimäki, and Minna Vasarainen. Okay, let's get going. So there seems to be an attack from blue fencer. That is 2 points blue. Seems to be a cut to the torso. So there's a lot of high-flying action from the get-go. A very similar exchange. So it seems to be an unclear exchange. No good vantage point for the judges. So let's see. Okay, now there's a more calculated approach from Dmitry, and seems to be a cut towards the hand. And that is 2 points to red fencer Dmitry from Estonia.
So now the score is even. For those of you who cannot see the score, it's 2 points for each of them.
Yes. Okay, there's an attempted thrust from Vincents. And then a riposte. Okay, judges see 3 points to blue fencer. So the score is now 5-2 for Vincents from Lithuania.
So both of them are from schools called Freifekter, actually. Freifekter Vilnius and Freifekter Rebels.
So there's a cut to the floor, which is warning. So no score given.
And both of these fighters have been fencing for about 2 to 3 years. So actually everybody in this tournament has been fighting for maximum 3 years. So new up-and-comers, everybody.
So again, actions going up. There seems to be a cut to the head from Dmitry, and Vincents goes low. The score is 3-5.
3-5 in Vincas, also Lithuanian's favor.
And again, this bout is moving fast into one direction or another.
Looks like we have a protest from Lithuania.
Yes. So it's called 2 points each, so no score. Score stands.
So this fight is for 1.5 minutes, but every time the referee pauses, the time pauses as well. So they get 1.5 minutes of actual fighting.
Yes. And for those joining us now and didn't see the rules briefing or haven't seen the rules, so we're doing Nordic 3-2. So full weighted afterblow, a cut or a thrust to the head or a thrust to the torso, 3 points, and a cut or thrust anywhere else is worth 2 points. When both hit, the differentiation is given to the fencer that hits a deeper target. So now it's 4-5, still Vincent's leading. Okay, let's see. Okay, Dmitry again striving for a one-handed cut. That's a second warning. That will be 3 points to Vincent's. The reason that we're penalizing these is that it shows uncontrolled fencing. Okay,
Yeah, we're being quite strict on penalties as well. So we're escalating from first warning is a yellow card, second is a red card, and it is immediate maximum points to your opponent, so 3 points in this case.
That makes the score 4-8 for Vincent's. Okay.
And the cap is 10, so he's pretty close.
There seems to be a parry post and cuts towards the upper target from Vincent's. Let's see how the judges see it. Okay, it's called an unclear exchange. Okay, let's see.
We have 30 seconds left on the clock of fighting time, and the fight is 8-4 to Lithuania.
And these are typically the situations where both fencers start to rush, especially if you're down, you want to get there, get the points and get out. Okay. So it's still 4-8, so now there's a lot more consideration. Oh, it seems to be a ring out. Let's see if there's any points before that.
It's interesting to see these guys fight against each other because they both say that they're fighting Lichtenhauer with a bit of Meyer. They both said that.
Okay.
Like everyone, right?
Yes, well, frog DNA for the wins. Okay. Oh, so there's a forced ring out, which in this rule system is a warning. So that means 3 points. Blue Victor score 4-11, Vincents from Lithuania.
All right, so we have our first win from Lithuania, but we need to see the other two fights to determine who will be in the finals. No.
Okay, they want another exchange, but it's not given to them.
I've seen this before where the fencers are so excited and they just want to keep the fight
Yes.
going. And they're like, just one more exchange,
One more,
come
yeah.
on. We had this at Swordfish one year.
Instead, we're going to change to another fencer.
Now we have Latvia entering the scene. So Roland's is Latvian, as you can see by his flag and his forearms. But he's actually fencing primarily out of Krakow, from the Krakow School of Fencing. He does train with us here in Latvia, I would say like maybe 20% of the time on a lucky month for us. But he trains quite intensively in Krakow. His main weapon is longsword, but he also does rapier. So he's quite thrust-oriented. He describes his style as provoke aggressively so that he can parry riposte, which is in line with the Polish style of fencing, I would say.
Also a very Meyer thing to do. It's Reizen, Nementreffen, provoking, taking, hitting. So again, maybe we'll see Lichtenauer with a little bit of
Lichtenauer with a touch of Meyer.
Meyer, yeah. Okay, here we go. So there's high pressure from Rolands onwards, provoking towards the hands. Okay, now we're stalemate looking. Okay, there's a cut towards the hand, but no quality, so
Yeah,
no
Lithuania
score.
acknowledged the hand hit, but the quality was not sufficient.
Okay, there's a rally, and there appears to be a cut from Rolands towards the hands, and that is indeed so. That is 2 points red, starting the score 2-0 for Roland from Latvia. Okay, another attempted cut towards the hands, parried this time, so that's from Rolands. Okay,
Ooh, that's a floor strike, I think. Very light, so we'll see if
very
he
light,
calls it.
yeah, I don't think so. Again, the action moving towards the red corner of Rolands, so no quality cuts given. Wait, there seems to be a protest.
He's
He's acknowledging a hit to the floor.
to the floor.
Okay, yes. That is a warning
that floor
to
hit, yeah.
Vincent, yes. So, but no score given since it's the first warning of the bout. So score stands at 2-0 for Rolands.
Right. So as soon as the second warning is given, it will be 3 points to the opponent, which is quite steep, but necessary to enforce the rules.
Yeah. Okay. Again, there seems this probing action going on from Rolands for the hands. Okay,
I would say
yes.
that was clearly a provocation. He lured him into his distance, parry riposted, just like he said he would do.
It required a couple of parries, so let's see if there was a hit that slipped through the parries. Okay, so blue hit is flat, so no score. That is giving 2 points for Rolands for a cut to a lower target.
Edge alignment is a quality point that we're really looking for here.
Which can be tricky to see in these kind of high-flying exchanges.
For
Happily,
sure.
we have quite an experienced judging team.
Yeah, we specifically asked the Finns to come judge longsword so that we would not have anybody from any of the Baltic nations judging
Yes.
to keep it
And
impartial.
there was again a cut to the hands from Roland, so this time a provocation into then an actual strike to the hands, moving it to 6-0 for Rolands. Okay, a parry post again to the hands, and then an action quite late, so that is 2 points for red again. So Roland's going to an 8-0 lead with 16 seconds remaining. Okay, and provocation up, cut to the belly from Roland's, and then an answer from Vincent's. Seems to be unclear. No points given. So that is the last exchange. So it's 8-0. So let's see if we see something funky. Oh no, we see a provocation, a cut to the hands. It's good to stay consistent. So blue's action is late to the hands, so that is 2 points red.
So currently we have 1 win for Lithuania, 1 win for Latvia. Now Latvia and Estonia will meet, and that outcome will determine which two make it to the finals. If Estonia wins that over Latvia, we have an interesting situation where each have won 1 fight, and then we'll need to look at the points.
The point difference then comes
Yeah.
into play. So it's going to be interesting because we know that Dmitry likes his long range, one-handed stuff, and Roland likes to provoke to the hands. So let's see how that plays out and what kind of adaptations we're going to have from either fencer.
I asked Rollins how he would describe his fencing, and he said that he is the don't get hit guy, so he's always trying not to get hit, and
Which
that
is, you know,
he's
good when you're fencing people with swords.
absolutely, and that he's adapting to the other fencer style, so he doesn't have any one like clear style himself other than maybe provoke, parry, hit, but he's able to change, which I think to me signals somebody who's really thinking.
Okay, let's see here. So there's a lot of movement from the get-go. Roland's fighting backwards again. There's an exchange of no quality quads. Okay, an attack from Roland's. That is 2 points to Roland's. Going to 2-0 for Roland's.
Feel free to speak a little bit louder.
Okay.
We turn the sensitivity down.
Okay. Okay, that is given 3 points blue, 2 points red, so that is 1 point blue going to the score guards. Okay, let's see. Again, now there's Dmitry is provocating. Okay, there seems to be an attack to a low target from Dmitry, and then for some reason there's a fall. Let's see if Dmitry is okay.
That looked like a bit of a tumble, not really a grappling
Not really,
situation.
no. There's a slice at the same time as the fall. Okay. So the exchange is called unclear, since the judges don't have a good clue on what happened. So we're gonna replay the exchange. Okay, let's go here again. Now Ron's looking for the provocation. One-handed cut from Dmitry. Okay, simultaneous cuts. Let's see the targets.
I would say that the style from Estonia here is a little bit more attack when provoked,
Yes.
not necessarily protecting
Yes,
first.
so going for deep. Here again, going for the one-handed cuts and then a high guard. Okay, and then attacks Dmitry. Okay, that is 2 points for Dmitry to cut into the hand from above. Okay.
So Rollins will need to adapt to this because
Yes.
his usual style is not working.
Yes. And here these long-range one-handed cuts to make Rollins be a bit wary outside of the distance. So now there's an attack again. So this time Rollins parries it and shows a cut to the arm. So then it's 3-5 for Rollins, moving to the victory. So there's some intense coaching going on, which is then cut short. Okay.
Looked like
Again,
both hit at the same time there.
Yes. That is 2 points each, so an exchange of cuts to the hands. There we go again.
Oh, that was very
Beautiful
nice.
provocation, attack to the hands. That is 2 points to Rollins. Dmitri's attack does land, but clearly out of tempo. So moving the fight to 3-7 for Rollins. Okay, cut from above. And maybe a cut from below. Let's see if it landed. So it did indeed land. So that gives 1 point. Blue moving the score to 5-7. 4-7. Okay.
They have about 20 seconds left of fighting time on the clock.
Yes. So this time Dmitry provokes and Rollins cuts to the hands into the provocation. Moving the score to 4-9.
And the cap is 10, so Rollins only needs 1 more point to clean up here.
Okay.
And there it is.
It is. That is 2 points for a cut to the arms. And that is match for Rollins.
So it looks like we will have Rollins from Latvia and Vincas from Lithuania in the finals.
Yes, and the final is going to be very interesting because it's a longer format, so there's going to be more adaptations happening.
Yes. So we're going to have 5 rounds of 1.5 minutes each, or it's a minute each, and they will pause as we did in the pools here, which means that is clean fighting time.
But before that, we'll have a couple of finals, so we're going to have the Rapier and Dagger first,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
We have open Rapier and Dagger, then we're going to have women's plus Sabre, then we have open Sabre, and then we're closing the evening with the finals of the Baltic Longsword Championship.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see because Rollins is fighting in the final of the Rapier and Dagger as well in the gold final.
He is, yeah. So he has his Rapier finals, and then he'll have Sabre to rest, and then he has to get his mind set on Longsword.
And that is always an interesting setup. Do you get warmed up because of the final? Does it sap your energy? What does it do for your mental? Obviously, if you win, you're gonna have a little bit of an edge going on to the finals.
Rapier and Dagger. And the finals are going to be for 3 rounds.
Best of 3.
Best of 3.
So 2
Best of
or
3,
3
yeah.
rounds, basically.
Exactly.
We're gonna start with a match where we have 2 guys from Stockholm, from Spiff, fighting, Einar Lundgren and Henrik Hintze.
Yes. I really like watching Henrik because he has a long sport fencing background. He's very clean and he's very quick. Einar is, I would say, quite he likes to take the initiative. He really likes to fight dagger forward and likes to shank with a dagger. Under this rule set, dagger hits are not permitted and in fact penalized. So I saw him kind of preparing to not use his dagger, and I saw him very tempted in the pools to do so a few times, but I think he's adapted quite well.
Sometimes Einar's fighting can be a little bit chaotic, which takes a while to adapt. It's going to be very interesting to see because these guys clearly fight a lot in their own club. So how does that end up showing in this final here?
Einar has the krona, the crown, on his mask, which is one of the, I guess, Swedish coat of arms. You have the 3 crowns, right? So he's, I guess, nod to his homeland while he's here in Latvia, which used to be a part of Sweden for a while, actually.
Well, most peoples around this Baltic Sea used to be Sweden at a point or another.
Yeah.
Yes, this year we have double the Swedes.
Double the Swedes.
Last year we had only Einar here. Now we have Einar and Henrik. It's nice to see that they both got to finals, so they'll get to fight on the live stream. Later on, I think Einar's going to be in the bronze match in Sabre as well.
Hopefully they bring more Swedes with them next year.
Yes.
We're trying to become more international.
Here we go. So yeah, Einar likes to keep his rapier low, which is its own tool to create some anxiety because there's going to be a thunderous thrust or a cut coming from there you need to deal with. Then again, it gives you... Oh, there you go, there's a thrust. Okay, there seems to be a cut also from Henrik.
Cuts will not get you very far here because all cuts, even cuts to the head, are only worth 1 point. To get 3 points, you need a deep target thrust, so torso or head.
So this was now cut 1 point for Einar, so it's 1-0 for Einar.
Both of them, well, particularly Einar is fighting dagger forward, dagger leg forward, which is a very interesting way of fighting. So he's provoking, trying to parry with a dagger, and then riposte with the rapier.
Yeah. And very commonly with these large cuts to make his opponent parry something and then move the cut lower or higher. This time though, Henrik answers with a cut of his own. And there's this measuring process, which I think is a lot to do with these guys fight a lot with each other. So it's a lot of this mental mind game of I know that you know that I know.
Exactly. So it looks like they're very close, but they know exactly where they want to have each other.
Yeah. So there seems to be some thrusting action going on. So there's a thrust to the hand from Henrik, and then Einar answers the thrust, but there is a protest.
The score is currently 3-0 in Einar's favor, and they have 20 seconds left in this first round.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing about clean time is that you have, like, in a way, less time if you're just waiting. Whereas typically if you have so-called unclean time, where also judging is in time, if you wait, you have more time to measure your opponent in one round.
And we decided as well to do this stop time because we do allow for protests, and we want to make sure that we're always pausing and not taking any time away from the fighters.
Yeah. Okay, the call stands after some thinking and talking. So
still 3-0 in Einar's favor.
Yes. Again, Einar starts with each bout with moving backwards to the corner. Okay, so there's an exchange of cuts. So no score. So still 3-0.
Yeah,
okay,
the ref.
Now Einar takes a lot of space and then again going backwards.
So a lot of cuts to the leg from Einar here.
Well, here he really wants that cut to the leg because he knows that if he lands that, he cannot lose this round. But then again, these situations where he knows that Henrik knows, and Henrik knows that he knows. There's a thrust to the arm from Henrik. So that is 1 point blue. So first round goes to Einar. Yeah.
So he still won that first round. If he wins the second round, then he'll have the fight.
But the score is quite tight, like 3-1, like one deep target attack would have changed that.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised I didn't see more deep target thrust from Henrik because that really is his MO.
it can be stressful, like attacking an opponent who likes to go for these big swings.
Yeah.
And getting into the distance, especially when you know each other, it can be real difficult. So we'll see if there's going to be some kind of adaptation from Henrik's part when we get to this second round.
I'm also paying close attention to Einar's feet because, like you said, he's getting pushed into a corner, or maybe he's comfortable fighting from the corner, which is surprising to me because I usually see him take a lot of space. So he's right at the edge, and I saw one of his feet go out, and the second foot was pretty close. I think he stayed in the ring the whole time, but the ref is going to have to keep a close eye on that. Ring outs are 1 point to your opponent, so minimum points. But if you intentionally step out as a way to avoid a hit or to game the rules, it'll be penalized. So ref has to look out for that as well. I don't think Einar's doing that here, just to comment on the rules.
Yeah, and it's extra dangerous to be on the border because there's not a lot of tactile feeling in these kind of tape borders, so you need to kind of see it. But I guess Einar's been fighting a lot in this ring today, so he has an idea of like how big is the ring.
Our rings are pretty big, I would say.
Yeah.
They are 12 by 4 meters, I believe.
And again, they're fighting at very... So there's a cut to the leg, and there's missed afterblow, so that is 1 point for Henrik, moving to 1-0 for Henrik. Again, similar setup, moving towards Einar's corner. Kind of small provocations. I can see this, like they're going into distance and then backing away. They both know, okay, now there's a clash.
That was an interesting sport fancy. Henrik tried to thrust, bending his arm behind his head or his rapier behind his head. I don't think it landed, but I always love to see that.
Yes. Well, even if it doesn't land, it looks cool in the live stream. So
You see a lot of that coming out of Spiff, like Stanson does that a lot, like thrust from behind his back around his left side.
yeah.
Okay,
But it seems to be land. Okay, then we have a protest.
so we're allowing protests so long as the protests are reasonable and not being gamed. So far, everybody has been using them in a sportsmanlike way. The risk, of course, is that they take a lot of time, especially in the finals when the stakes are high.
Okay, the call is changed, so both fencers land their thrusts. So that is still 1-0 for Henrik. Okay, now there's tangling of the blades. There seems to be a cut from Einar from above. Does it land? Initial thrust, and there's a... So there's no score, so there's no actual scoring hits. in
Yeah,
this
nothing of
exchange.
quality landed.
Yeah.
That was quite unclear, I
There
would
was
say.
a cut that was trying to go through the parry, but I agree with Reinis, our referee here, that it's not through enough. It's a very interesting way of Einar using the dagger to provoke, to get up, to get some kind of action out of Henrik. So there's a thrust to the torso from Henrik that moves it to 4-0 to Henrik. So there's a clear change in rhythm in this fight compared to the last round. And now we also see Einar having some urgency and pushing out of his corner. So yeah, so now we see again this penalizing of the dagger. So there's a cut from Einar, which is then nullified because he gets a warning for attacking with the dagger.
Which is illegal under this rule set.
Yes. Okay. Yes, there's a sneaky little thrust from Henrik inside the action.
Yeah, I think it's hard for the ref to see on his side because there was a bit of an angle, but for me it looked clearly like there was flex to Henrik's blade there.
And there's an action back from Einar. Okay, so there's action from both fencers, so no score. So here you can see there's a parry and a counter attack from Henrik. Does it land? Yeah, there's a thrust to the torso. Okay, that's another attack with the dagger from Einar. So there's... Okay, so that means that this is this round is 10-0 in one exchange, because there's a second warning that gives 3 points, and there's a thrust to a deep target that gives also 3 points, so that moves Henrik up 6 points, and the cap, getting the cap, so it's 10-0 now.
Yeah, so our protest, if you get red carded, which is 3 points to your opponent, you can get multiple red cards in one exchange. So for example, your opponent can score a hit on you, they get 3 points. You hit the floor, that's 3 point penalty. You turn the back of your head afterwards, another 3 point penalty. You step out of the ring, another 3 point penalty. In one exchange, you can lose the entire bout. And that didn't happen here, but you saw 6 points given to the opponent for landing a thrust plus the opponent being penalized. So it's interesting how those stack up and how they can like add points very quickly.
So we keep the same warnings, so Einar's going to start with 2 warnings.
So Einar has a red card, which means that it's the ref's discretion now if there are any further transgressions, if he wants to continue giving him more red cards, or if he does the same illegal action repeatedly, he can escalate to a black card, which is a loss of bout. Usually they won't do that if the fighter is fighting with good intention, and sometimes penalties or transgressions happen because of you're excited or it's high stakes. As long as he's fighting with good sportsmanlike behavior, it will only be a red card.
Yeah, and here it's very clear that Einar is used to fighting rule sets where you're allowed to attack with the dagger. And having fought him in the pool here, he didn't land, I don't think, any dagger hits in the pool. So here now there's more tiredness, more pressure on him. So then the dagger comes out kind of instinctively.
Exactly. Muscle memory, old habits. It's really hard to stomp those down in a final like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so each have won a fight. That's why we're in our 3rd round, making this very exciting.
Yes. Again, starting now again in Einar's corner. This jumping back and forth movement going on. Very similar. And there seems to be a interrupting thrust from Einar. That gives it 3 points to Einar, starting the match off 3-0 to Einar.
That was nice and clean. He parried Henrik's incoming attack as well.
I think that's what he's kind of been trying to get with this going backwards. Yes, a provoke and attack, and then parry and riposte, either counter-attacking and then parry posting. So now there was action. So there's a cut to the leg from Einar, and a thrust is then delayed. Okay, there's some kind of protest.
I think he's disputing if the afterblow is in tempo because of the number of steps taken by Henrik. And indeed, if you take more than 1 steps, that is several tempi.
Yeah.
The afterblow should be discarded
Yes.
if that's the case.
But here, I don't think Henrik hit an afterblow. He's just discussing whether he could get more points with the afterblow. Okay, so this exchange is thrown out. It's unclear enough. So again, moving back to the corner, very similar setup for the exchanges, which is now working. In this round, it's working for Einar. Okay, exchanging of cuts. There seems to be some kind of thrust going from Henrik. So it's a thrust to the arm. That is 1 point for Henrik.
Yeah, in that case, In that case, the ref is sure and the judge is sure that they saw a thrust. They're unsure where it landed. So to be fair and to be safe, they erred on the side of caution and deferred to the lower point, so 1 point.
And there is a ring out. Yes.
I was waiting for that to happen.
Yes,
the ref was paying attention.
He's been on the, yeah. But in these rules, it's only 1 point for Henrik, so it's not the end of the world.
And it was clear that he was ringed out because he didn't notice. It was not
Yes,
intentional.
yeah,
He wasn't avoiding a thrust or
Yeah.
anything. Very clean.
So now he's a little bit more cautious to go back. Yeah. Still quite on the edge there. Score being still 4-2 for Einar. Now there's a lunging thrust, which is parried, and then there's a cut to the leg from blue. Okay, there's some kind of technical issue. The score should now move to 4-3. Still Einar in the lead.
We have our scorecard technician, designated scorecard technician on the case, so it will be cleared up shortly, I'm sure.
So it's 16 seconds left, so we're very soon moving into last exchange territory. With this small of a point difference, then it can get down to that one exchange.
So it's in Henrik's best interest to score a clean, deep target hit, which is difficult to do fighting against Einar the way they've been fighting tonight so far. Alternatively, he could do 3 quick, clean cuts.
So let's see, it's 3-2, but again there is this thing where both fencers know that there's not a lot of time and then it's anybody's game, so do you rush it? Do you take your time? Do you hedge your bets that you have a better, a colder head than your opponent?
That's why last exchange is called rather than stopping at 0, so that the
Yes.
fighters can really use that last exchange to have a good strategy rather than
Now there
rush
is-
in.
Let's see. There's a definite cut to the leg from Einar. So there's a thrust to the torso from Henrik. Okay.
This should even the score out to 3-3 because it should be 2 points.
No, that it moves to 4.
Oh.
3, because it's 3-1.
2 points to blue, that's right.
Okay, the match goes to Henrik Hintze.
Okay, so Henrik wins in the 3rd round by 1 point to his clubmate. That is very exciting. That was a tough fight to judge, so good job on the ref and the judge for, I think, doing a really good job seeing that scrappy but exciting fight.
Yeah, like it's very much this. There's waiting, tension happening more and more, and then there's an explosion of attacks. Well, it's for us, I'm happy I didn't have to judge because the corner was bad for me. Okay, and now we move to the gold match. In the blue corner, we have, in the red jacket, Ville Välimäki from HMS Finland. And in the red corner, representing Krakow Fehtovu School from Poland.
So Roland's we saw him in the longsword earlier fighting for Latvia. I asked him about rapier. He does rapier once a week for fun mostly. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why he fenced so well in the rapier tournament. He really cleaned up because he was having fun with it. There wasn't as high pressure as there was with longsword, although he did very well in longsword too.
So there's a cut to the leg and to the hand, which is funny, similarly Ville doesn't really do rapier and dagger that much. So there's not a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But both are very quite good general
Yes,
fencers. They're
yes.
both, obviously Ville has some years of fencing more on Roland, but then again less rapier. So
Ville is also fighting dagger leg forward, which I always think is really cool to see. And he's proactive with the dagger. He's taking the rapier first, his opponent's rapier first, and then responding with his dagger when he has control.
yes.
Responding with his rapier when he has control.
And here we have this deep mind game of Ville Välimäki of doing some silly movements to get your opponent to think that you don't know what you're doing. There's an attempted thrust from Roland. So there is a thrust to the torso from Roland. That is 3 points red. Moving the score to 3-0 for Roland.
And they have 30 seconds left, so this first round has flown by quickly,
Yeah.
I would say.
There's a lot of measuring happening. And I think in good Rapier and Dagger, it tends to happen a lot.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of looking around. And both of these gentlemen still have a final in front of them. So it's going to be interesting to see. Are they doing less here to kind of reserve the energy, or are they just going for it?
So now the score is 4-0 in Roland's favor, and Roland has the whole Sabre and women's plus Sabre to rest before Longsword. Villa is fighting Sabre next after this.
Yes. Well, there's a match in between, but
Well, there's the bronze fight in
Yes,
between, and
yeah,
then he'll
yeah.
be fighting for gold as well. So
Yeah.
2 gold fights for him tonight.
Okay, now there's some tomfoolery. Oh, and quick. Oh, now there seems to be a thrust from Ville. And it. Okay, there's a protest in an exchange that, even if Ville gets 3 points, he. Yes.
So you train with Villa. How much rapier does he actually do?
Not really.
Not really.
No. Mostly fences longsword and saber. He's our main saber instructor, which is going to be then interesting to see how he fares in the gold match. But as you can see, just of Ville's demeanor, like Rapier and Dagger, he can fully relax. He doesn't really need to take it that seriously.
Yeah.
But let's see if he finds a good solution to Roland's game here.
I mean, the score is 4-0, and in the end, it was 4-3. So Villa managed to almost catch up in the last second there.
Yeah.
So the first round went to Roland's, but he still has this round to catch up with him.
And it's very common in these best of three tournaments that the person who loses the first round makes the better adaptation, because there's more pressure on you to make that adaptation. So we'll see. Okay, round 2 is gonna get started. Okay, again the measuring process. Ville keeping still going for the thrust. Let's see if it lands. There's a thrust from Ville. And there's... Okay, and there's a protest. Okay, so we're debating if there's an afterblow or if Ville did land with the initial. It's a very long range thrust, so it's hard to see. Okay, exchange is thrown out, no exchange.
Yeah, and the ref seems to be erring on the side of throwing out the exchange if he's not completely convinced, and his judge is not completely convinced, and the fencers themselves are protesting. Clearly, nobody really knows what happened.
Yeah. And now we see Ville putting on the pressure, doing a cut, giving himself a lead of 1 point, so 1-0. Okay. So now in this round we see Ville moving to a way more cut-oriented style. So there's no exchange.
The ref is saying that he can't really make that call because the backs were turned to him. So even if they were to protest, neither he nor the judge can confirm what happened. And that's the right thing to do in this case. Redo the exchange.
Yeah. Okay. So now Ville has turned on a little bit more pressure, especially with the cuts. Let's see how Roland's responses to this.
He has an interesting tip up guard sometimes. Right now his tip is down, obviously, but Villa, sometimes he has his tip pointing vertically up like so, which invites your opponent in. And it's a nice way to provoke in Rapier and Dagger.
It's also a nice way to cut.
Sure.
Which, for a saber fencer, that's what tends to happen. Okay, now again a clash. Some cuts given. Okay, that is a cut. So there's an exchange of cuts. Both fencers hit. Ville acknowledges it. So no exchange. We're still going 1-0 to Ville. So there's still anyone's game. A deep thrust can change it.
So yeah, 1-0, 27 seconds left on the clock. He could win this bout, which would send them into the third round. As you said, he's waking up. The pressure is on him to do something to catch up to him.
Yeah. So Rollins is going forward. There's a so that is 3 points for blue. Yet again a protest on the target area of the thrust. Let's see. Okay. So the call stands and the score is now 4-0. So there's 13 seconds left. So Rollins goes quickly. Oh, and there's a double thrust, both fencers thrust. So in these, it's very important for the table to be ready. Again, the clock is not running. Oh, nice. Okay, good. So there's a cut to the arm from Rollins. That is 1 point red. So now we move to last exchange territory. Let's see. So there's a 3 points difference. So if Rollins gets a clean deep target, then he gets a draw on this. But we still go. We're going to the third round no matter what. Okay. Ville showing a big cut, making Rollins think about things. Throwing a cut, missing. Parry, riposte. Let's see. So there's a thrust to the leg and after blow to the torso. 1 point each. This round goes to Ville Välimäki. That's 4-1. So we move to the last round, 1 victory each. So this is for all the marbles here. So for the Sabre bronze match, I might need to leave.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah. It will be interesting for Rollins here because he has the Longsword Baltic Championship coming up later, and I know that that's pretty much all he's been thinking about for a year, and it's very important to him. So I'm curious to see if he wins this final, this Rapier final, if that gives him extra energy to fight, and if he loses this final, what will that do to his mental game? I'm very curious about that.
I think it's, however it goes, it's probably dampened by Rapier not being your main discipline, kind of being a side thing to do. Okay, but now we're getting ready for the last round of the Rapier Gold match. So the adaptation from Ville in the last round was more pressure, cut heavy fencing. Let's see if Roland finds an answer for that. Again, point up, showing a big cut.
So Rollins, as I mentioned before, said he is a fencer who likes to adapt to his opponent. Yeah. I think Ville must be difficult to adapt to because he doesn't have a very clear style himself. He's doing a lot of funky things, he's having fun. It's hard to respond to that in a specific way.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing yourself, it's difficult for the opponent as well. But, okay, again, a cut to the cut. So that is 1 point each. So the score is now 1-0 for Rollins. It's still very much anybody's game, although they have been waiting a lot. So a lot of these initial scores affect the game a lot. So as we see again, Ville doing some diversionary tactics. Okay. Keeping the point up. A very non-standard Rapier guard. Now moving into point in line, maybe. Okay. Resetting. There's an attack to the leg from Roland. And there's an attempted attack from Ville. So that is 1 point. Okay, there's a protest. Okay, so it's called no quality from Ville since it hits the sword on the way and then flexes in. So the score is now 2-0 for Rolands. So now again it seems like because the matches slowed down a little bit, it's in Roland's favor. But now we can see Ville adding on the pressure. is it enough? There's not a lot of time left.
We have 17 seconds left.
Yeah. So there's a cut of that. Okay, so
Rollins woke up.
yes, there's the 3-0. 6 seconds to last exchange. Let's see if Ville can find a deep target here.
Yeah, he needs to switch from cutting, saber cutting, to actually thrusting.
Now he'll march in. Okay,
That was very nice.
there's a cut. Let's see if the last exchange is called early enough.
He lured him in, he cut to the leg, and he had that plan because he was able to back
Yes.
away using
But
quick
it is a
footwork.
good question. Ville did throw an attack towards the hand. Did it land?
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. There's a thrust from blue. Yes. So the last exchange is called in time. So that is 2 points to Ville, making Rolands the winner of this round and the winner of the gold match.
And you can see he's very happy. You could see that by his reaction.
Yes.
Ville seems really happy with the result as well, celebrating him. Yeah, he's quite emotional.
Yeah, that's good.
Very well fought for both of them. That was a lot of fun to watch.
So speaking of, I will step off to get ready for my final with Ville in Sabre. So I will leave you in the loving care of Kristine for now. And after Sabre final is done, I'll come back to talk about longsword with you guys. Oh no, there's the women's Sabre now.
There's the women's saber.
Yes,
So,
I'm not fighting in the women's Sabre with Ville. I'm indeed in the open Sabre with Ville.
so for women's, we have. Okay, so we have in the red corner Daina from Lithuania, and in the blue corner Linda from HEMA Riga in Latvia. I haven't fought Daina myself, but I can say that she fights with a lot of passion and a lot of intent, and she's very expressive as a fighter, and I know she's very passionate. A lovely person. And then Linda, she's more clinical, more technical. She's one of my club mates, and I spar her a lot, so I know her fighting very well. She has leveled up a lot in the past year. She's been training very hard.
Their match in the pool was interesting. There was the tail of the tape was a counter thrust from Linda, but let's see if there's adaptations been made from Daina. It's always interesting to have these tournaments where you face the same opponent several times and see what changes.
Yes, and this women's saber tournament was smaller. It was 5 fencers, so inevitably they will meet each other more than once.
So there's an initial thrust called from Linda, and everything else is called out of tempo. That is going to be 3 points blue. So 3 points to Linda, making the score 3-0.
Right now we have Kristaps judging and Marcus on Kristaps reffing and Marcus judging. Both of them are primarily saber fighters, so they really know what they're looking at right now.
Yeah. So there's a cut and a response. So initial cut from Linda and a response from Daina. So blow after blow, same targets, no score.
We see Linda is taking center and Daina is quite comfortable being more in the corner.
Yeah. So there's an attack from Linda. It seems to be parried, and then there's an action from Daina. I don't really see where it lands and what lands.
It looked like it was a parry riposte to the torso, but we'll see. The judges had a better angle, so we'll see what they say.
So yeah, Linda has both the center of the mat, but also fights for the center line a little bit more, whereas it seems Daina is waiting outside and then displacing and going for the cut.
Yes. So now the score is 3-2 in Linda's favor. Daina is closing the gap.
Yeah.
Linda's putting on pressure.
And there's an exchange of cuts, high-low.
Looks like another parry riposte.
Yeah. And the scoring has moved back to the same scoring as in longsword, so 2-3 instead of 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
they see that Linda's attack to the head is flat, so hits with the flat of the blade, which means no quality. So that is 2 points for Daina, moving her to the lead, being it now 4-3 for Daina. Okay.
We have parry, parry.
And then a thrust around the sword from Linda, catching the throat. So giving free post to Linda, now pushing her to the lead. So it's 6-4 to Linda. And again, pressure forwards from Linda and simultaneous cuts.
Yeah, we saw Dinah was cutting from above, Linda was cutting from below, both landing at the same time.
At the same target, which is the torso.
So that's their first double, but since they're in the finals, they can have as many doubles as they
Yes.
like.
Which, you know, we'd like there to be not so many.
Parry,
Oh,
parry,
there
parry, parry, nice.
Okay, and now
There
there's an attempted maybe dominance, so no actual hits, and then okay, it's so this is called a grappling situation with no scoring actions, and that is true. There was no scoring actions.
I think
Then-
Linda had some dominance, but the ref deemed it as not being dominant enough to
Yes,
score any
yeah,
points.
yeah. There was a hand in between. Okay, now there's a attack from Dinah into Linda's void that reaches. Maybe the hand sounds like hard plastic. So moving it to 6-6, draw situation, 18 seconds left. And again, Dinah is moving backwards into her corner. Linda's pressuring. It's the last exchange. Attack, parry, riposte.
So it looks like Dinah has been doing quite well on being patient, waiting for Linda to attack first, then she does a parry and some sort of riposte. Linda would need to change up her strategy to avoid that situation happening
and
again.
maybe change up to a different kind of attack.
Right.
So this round goes to Dinah with score 8-6. Very equal score.
Right. So Linda will need to either change up the type of attack she's doing if she wants to keep taking initiative, or she'll need to be more patient, try to lure Dinah in so that she can parry riposte herself, which Linda is actually quite good at. It's nice to see Dinah being so composed. I mentioned that she was quite passionate and quite, what I saw in her pool fights, taking the initiative a lot. Here I see a different side of her where she's very patient, waiting to parry riposte because she knows what attack is coming from Linda. It's good to see that diversity coming from her.
And it clearly works, like especially in the second half of this first round, where she made the read of, okay, this kind of attack is coming, so I'm going to displace it and the Dinah cut Linda into a target that's difficult to parry after your thrust is being parried, which is on the side of your torso. Okay, we're gearing up for the second round. So we changed the role of ref and judge. And here we go.
Linda putting on pressure still,
Oh, and then
And-
going for the thrust.
which lands.
Yes. Snaking from over the guard. So
That was really nice because the thrust met some opposition from
Yeah.
Dinah. She was attempting to parry it, but Linda kept pushing
Yeah.
through and it did land.
Oh, similar attempt. Okay. Halted. Okay, it's called an unclear exchange, no exchange.
Yeah, he's saying that the cut from Dinah was of low quality, and indeed I would say the blade was just placed there. There
Yes.
was no slicing or percussive action.
Okay, and now Dinah goes for the thrust of her own, and then there's a cut from Linda. Yeah.
So Dinah was pre-protesting before the call was made, arguing that the hit was to her arm and not to her torso,
Yeah.
making sure the judges saw that.
Which was now given 2-2 to each, so no score. So now Linda being patient with the lead. Okay, then marches in. Okay, then there's some grappling action going on.
So it looks
There's an action from Dinah from below and Linda from above, but I don't see if it's whether it's quality and where it's hitting.
So to me, it looked like Dinah cut Linda to the torso, and Linda sort of grabbed the blade, so dampening the effect of it hitting her. And then she did a after blow. You could say it was later in tempo, unclear, to the head. Again, the edge alignment was negligible on that. I'm curious to see how they call this, if it's of quality or not.
Yeah. They see both attacks and they award points for both attacks.
Okay, so both were within quality,
Yeah.
both score. The score is now 4-0 in Linda's favor with about 50 seconds left on the clock. So we see Linda cleaning up in this round.
Oh, there's a parry, riposte parry from Dinah.
That was very nicely
Very,
timed.
very,
She
very
waited for Linda to
clean,
come in.
yeah.
The leg was there. She took it. She got out.
So now it's 2-4 for Linda again. So attempted thrust seems to be parried. And there's a cut.
The judge sees it as an exchange of cuts
Cuts,
to the
yeah.
arm.
So that's 2 points each. No score. So the score is still 2-4. 23 seconds left. Again, Dinah is giving ground, moving backwards. Maybe being a bit hesitant to stay in distance because of the thrust. Okay. It's again grappling.
So it looks like the ref is calling that Linda is demonstrating that she could stab Dinah in the face. So the quality is not really the relevant part. The part is if she was holding back that thrust for her safety.
Which is also always a risk to do. Like you
Yeah.
should always make contact. Okay, so it's given 2 points red. So now it's 4-4, last exchange. If Dinah wins this exchange, it's her match.
So Linda has to have a cool head now if she wants to win the second round and get into the third round.
Oh, there's a thrust.
Clean
from
thrust,
Linda.
looks like.
Let's see. Yes. So that is 3 points for Linda. We're moving on to the third round.
It looked like Red was acknowledging the thrust as well. I think it was quite clear to everybody that that was a very clean, nice thrust from Linda. So the final score of the second round was 7-4 in Linda's favor, which means we are going into a third round. So we see both fighters adapting quite well to one another, I'd say. So this will be an exciting third round.
Yeah, I think that it was kind of in this round we see Dinah getting a little bit maybe too trigger happy, going a little bit early, where then Linda being able to then take her time, choose the correct openings, and win the necessary exchanges.
Yes. And a few very nice thrusts from her as well. I think she was attempting those thrusts in the first round, but Dinah was able to parry them.
Yeah.
It seems like Linda figured out a way to get them in, either push through the parry or time them differently.
Yeah, I think it's also a matter of distance. Like now in this round, Linda crept a little bit closer, so the extension of the arm already brought the point closer, and then the step would land it.
Yeah.
Whereas earlier Dinah was keeping her distance a little bit better, giving her a larger opportunity to parry. Okay, let's get ready for the last round of the bronze match in the women's plus saber.
So once again, Linda taking the center line and the center of the mat.
Yeah.
Dinah is circling around using offline footwork.
Right. There's a cut each way, one landing to the leg.
The cut from Dinah in response looked like it landed to Linda's arm, like she was attempting the head, but Linda had a high parry.
Yeah. So it's cut to the leg, cut to the arm, no score. Score stays at 0. Again, Linda pushing, Dinah going backwards.
Dinah stomping, trying to provoke an attack from Linda.
provokes an action, not necessarily an attack.
To see how she'll respond to that provocation.
Now Dinah rotates to give us a little bit space to go backwards. Okay,
That
goes
was beautiful.
forwards, and then there's a cut to the arm from Linda in the preparation.
Yeah, so they had their blades bound together, and as she was moving back, Linda does an undercut to the forearm of Dinah.
Yeah.
Nice and clean. So the score is 2-0 in Linda's favor, 50 seconds left on the third round.
Okay, there's at least a cut to the torso from Dinah. Is there any action before? No. It is 2 points to Dinah, moving the score 2-2 with 40 seconds left.
This is pretty close.
Yeah.
Again, we see them making blade contact. They're fighting at a quite close distance for Sabre.
And
See
that's why there's a cut to the arm from Linda, because it's just essentially an extension of the arm to hit. So it's difficult to parry. It's enough quality, so that is 2 points to Linda, making it 2-4 with 30 seconds left. Still very much anybody's game.
Absolutely. We see Linda raising her guard into a little bit of a higher guard now, maybe inviting her in.
Yes.
With
and gets a beautiful thrust to the face through the weak of Dinah's sword, moving the score 2-7 with 20 seconds left. Now
Dinah can still catch up, but
Yeah.
she'll have to make some quick actions.
which is difficult in these kind of like adaptation fights. Let's see.
Although that is not possible at this point because it is down to last exchange after this.
No, it's.
Oh, she still
so
can,
there is a
okay.
possibility if Dinah goes for a deep.
For
Let's
a clean
see.
three-pointer. Okay.
Yeah. So there's again pushing to the corner from. Okay, again a stomp. Okay. There's a exchange of
Exchange.
cuts. I think both land. So.
So
That match goes to Linda. So Linda wins the bronze here in women's plus Sabre in.
So that was interesting because for Linda there in that last exchange, Dinah went in with a cut to the torso. I think it was a little bit open, maybe somewhat suicidal. Linda's best response is to double in that situation because then
She was going for a hanging parry, but realized that parry was in the wrong spot, and then decided to just go for a cut because parrying in that distance is very difficult.
yeah. And at least then you nullify the score, keeping your lead.
Yeah. So now we have in women's Sabre gold medal match.
We have Ugna from Lithuania in blue and Minna Vasarainen from Finland in red.
Minna's been on a tear during this year.
Yeah, notably, Minna recently at DLC won gold in women's longsword and bronze in open longsword.
Yes.
I don't know much about Ugna's history. To me, she seems like a newcomer on the scene, so it's exciting to see her making it to the gold final.
Yeah, Minna's been fencing. Minna's been training a lot more Sabre lately. So let's see. In the pool, she fought very Sabre-y for a longsword fencer. Let's see if that keeps up in this final.
Minna's Sabre, I can say, has developed a lot in the past year. Her and I met in the finals here last year. Neither of us were doing Sabre. It was interesting,
Yeah, it
and
was,
now
yeah.
she's doing Sabre.
Yeah. So it's starting from a medium guard in the center, looking for a parry post, and there she gets it. Yeah.
So there were a number of parries, parry,
Yeah,
Minna
and
hit to
then
the
a parry
head.
post and a parry of the afterblow. Let's see what the target area is.
It seemed like they did not hear the ref
Yeah.
call halt because they kept fighting.
Because the ref didn't call halt. He just stick his arm up in the air.
I see,
So
okay.
that's where. So that is a head hit, so that is 3 points to Minna. Again, Minna taking this nice defensive posture, parry repose to the leg. So that is cut to the leg, so 2 points red. Okay, so there's a protest. Yeah, it is also like, I think Unga here is making the correct choice of when you're fighting a more experienced fencer, just push the action so you can make them slip and you might win more. But now, for now, I think Minna's defense has been very good.
I really like this fight so far. There are very clear intentions on both sides to parry. That's why you have these longer exchanges.
So the call stands, so it's 2 points red.
So the score is
5-0.
5-0 in Minna's favor.
So there's series of beats to start the exchange, and then exchange of cuts. So unclear exchange, no score. Go. Okay. Cut. Okay. There's a moulinet from Minna. Let's see where it lands. Referee also sees an action from Unga. So that is 2 points each. So the score stands at 5-0. We have approximately 50 seconds left. So there seems to be an exchange of thrusts. That's 3 points each. Okay, there's a cut to the hand from Minna. Attacking when Unga is retreating to look for the parry in the head and then cutting the hand. So that's 7-0 for Minna. It's interesting to see the difference from pool is that in pool Minna fenced more in these tierskart guards with the hand extended. Now she elects to keep the hand retracted. Maybe looking for these explosive parries. And there's a parry repose from Minna. There seems to also, there's also a cut from Unga. So it indeed lands, so that is 1 point for Minna, so that's 8-0 for Minna with 24 seconds left. So now there's a standstill.
Really?
Moving to the last exchange. An exchange of cuts. And since the referee didn't call the last exchange, let's see if we play one more exchange after this. So there's a thrust from Minna. And then there's a response, so that is 1 point red, moving it to 9-0. And that is, first round goes to Minna, 9-0.
So Minna wins 9-0, but I would say that Ugna is fencing quite well. It's just that Minna is really leveled up her sabre lately, but Ugna is making clear attempts to parry. She's doing clean attacks. It's really like gold medal level fighting from both of them.
So here's interesting to note that Minna also fought in the Open Sabre today. Not her day in the Open Sabre, but in women's she really found her good sabre fencing. So moving on to the second round. Fencers meeting in the middle, both. Okay, now there's a little bit more activity from Minna. There's a cut and a response. So a hit to the hands from Unge, and then Minna responds a cut to the head. So that means 1 point for Minna in the scoreboard, moving it 1-0.
So you see Minna doing something she does a lot in finals is provoke with foot stomps to get Ugne to come in. And Ugne is not backing down on that one.
Yeah.
She's staying quite firm, but maybe Minna's getting what she wants out of her. She's getting that provocation, so it's indeed working.
Okay, so there's a thrust from Minna. So first thrust that doesn't land, and then a renewal that seems to hit. That is 3 points to red. But it's true that here now Minna is moving on to the mode where she's stalking forward a lot more, kind of preempting the adaptation from her opponent. Okay, and then goes for a big cut. But there's a response as well. The judges are disagreeing of the target areas. Okay, let's see. So there's cuts both ways. Score stays at 4-0 to Minna. So there's 40 seconds left. Okay. There seems to be an exchange of attacks. So there's a thrust from Minna and a cut from Unge to the head from both. So no score, score stands. Okay, now there's a parry post. Okay. Seems to be that the parry doesn't work, it's a malparé, so an attack from Minna to a deep target, so that is torso to head, so that is 1 point to Minna into the scoreboard. Okay, we go. 25 seconds left, score is 5-0. Okay, Minna probing to the hand and then throwing a cut from her onside. So both cuts land. Double hit, no score. So last exchange, 5-0 for Minna. So now there's some shenanigans going on. Oh, and a cut to the ground. That's a warning. Let's see. Okay. Okay, match goes to red. So now I'm gonna leave you with Kristine, and I'm gonna go get prepared for my Sabre final. See you in a bit.
Good luck. So now we're moving into the bronze final for Sabre, and we have Einar Lundgren from SPIF in Stockholm, Sweden, returning for his second final of the evening. And then we have, entering the chat, Miro Lahtela from Finland, EHMS. This will be a really exciting fight. I really like the way both of them fight Sabre. And again, it's really nice to see such an international finals here. So at this event, we've had fighters from Latvia, obviously where we are right now, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Sweden, and one of our biggest showings is from Finland. So we have Mikko fighting in the red corner and Minna, who we just saw in the gold fight for Sabre, for women's, coaching him. Then we have Einar, and it looks like he's going to be fighting without a coach this time. We have Rinka as the ref. Let's see who will be judging. Looks like we have Kristaps. Kristaps is a very good Sabre fighter himself, so absolutely qualified to judge. We're starting out with Einar taking clear center, but Mikko is putting on pressure. They're both filling each other out a little bit. An attempted attack from Mikko, which is parried. Right, so the ref is calling that attack as parried. We have a attack from Einar, which is parried. So we see two attacks. They're being called an after blow rather than a double or simultaneous action. Score is still 0-0. Strike after blow to deep targets. We are still at 0-0. We have 1 minute left on the clock. We have a lot of provocations here from Einar, so not really committed attacks, just striking Mikko's blade, whereas Mikko is going in actually for the target, but Einar is managing to avoid it and move out of distance again. They're quite close, but they both have really good footwork. Einar is getting very close to ringing himself out again, and he manages to strike Mikko's leg. It looks like he does expose his head immediately afterwards, though. He might get warned for that, and if he gets warned for that, that means that he will lose his 2 points for striking the leg. Let's see how the ref calls it. Okay, so the strike to the leg is good. No warning. So he didn't really show the back of the head. The score is 2-0 in Einar's favor. We have a thrust from Einar. So that's been called as 3 points each, exchange of thrusts. We see a cut to the leg from Einar, followed by a cut to the upper quadrant, but was it head or arm from Mikko? So Blue is being warned for exposing the back of his head, and Mikko, okay, so Einar exposed the back of his head, and Mikko hit it, but it was not his intention to hit it. So the warning was given to Einar, meaning that he did not get his points for that hit. They're calling that hit to the leg very low quality. I would agree. I don't think I even saw it make contact. We're in the last exchange. We see Einar do a cut to the leg and jump out of the ring afterwards, which could be a penalty, depending on how the ref sees it. First round is Einar's, 2-0. I would say that is the final round with the fewest amount of points so far. 2-0 means that they were both taking a lot of time in the beginning to feel each other out. There were a number of attacks which were nullified because they both scored equal target, so 3-3 or 2-2. I'm curious to see how they adapt to one another in the next round. I also see Einar fighting very close to the edge of the ring, just like he did earlier in his Rapier bout. And he's exiting the ring, but he's doing so when the exchange is over, so he's not getting penalized for that. But if he does that during the exchange, it will be penalized. So we'll see how he adapts there. So we're starting our second round. Einar has the advantage of winning the first round. Both are jumping straight in, close distance, feeling each other out. We see a leg hit from Einar. There was an action from Miko, but was it of quality? We'll see how the judges call it. After blow was to the shoulder. It was of quality, so 2 points each, no score. We've seen a number of those so far in the first round. Okay, that was a nice feint from Einar. It looked like he was going to hit high. He changed, he hit the leg and was able to move out before Miko could respond. Anything Miko would have done would have been out of tempo at that point. So, but it looked like, okay, interesting. It looked like Miko did hit something because the score is 0-0. Okay, Miko lands a hit to the shallow target. Einar responds, but Miko manages to parry it mostly on his guard. So now the score is 2-0 in Miko's favor. We see another exchange of shallow target hits from both fighters. Strike to the leg, response with a strike to the arm. No points. Einar attempts to cut Miko's hand, but he parries it. He goes for the leg, but misses. We see a lot of attempts here. We see some provocative movements from Einar. And we see that same thing where he kind of leans back, goes in to hit the leg, and tries to void. Miko was ready for it this time. So as soon as Einar hit him in the leg, Miko was ready immediately to respond without hesitation. We see an exchange of deep target. Miko hits him in the head. Einar responds with a thrust. No points. Again, we see an exchange of hits. Whereas Miko hit the lower target, Einar managed to hit Miko in the head, so he gets the 1 point advantage there. The score is now 2-1 in Miko's favor. We have 27 seconds left on the clock. Once again, Einar goes for the leg. Miko responds by striking high. We've seen this exchange a number of times now. Score remains at 2-1. Once again, Einar going for that leg cut, but Miko is responding without hesitation every single time. Einar's not able to get out of the way, so he needs to find a new strategy if he wants to turn this around. We have last exchange, and he does try something new. He does a ascending cut with false edge from below. It's good. However, Miko responds with a head hit. So the score is 1 point to Miko, 3-1. Miko wins the second round. So we have the first round to Einar, the second round to Miko. We'll have a third round. We need to see a different strategy from Einar, though. He needs to stop going for those leg cuts where Miko is in distance to respond. He either needs to do it with a feint, or by being able to move out of distance, or with a little bit more distance between them to start off with. Because right now Miko he's a boffer fighter originally, so he's really good at responding like very quickly, without hesitating, without flinching. That's a specialty, so I wouldn't test that. So both fighters have their masks back on. They're picking up their sabers, moving into our third round. Okay, both fencers are being careful now. They're quite close. They're feeling each other out. exchange of blows to the head. It looks like a double. However, we're not really counting doubles in the finals. Both are quite zealous, I would say. Another exchange of blows, simultaneous action to the lower target. We're still at 0-0. We have a strike to the arm from Einar, followed by a strike to, I would say, head. Yeah, ref agrees after blow to the head, so that's 1 point to Miko. Another simultaneous exchange of blows to the head. The score is still 1-0. We have 1 minute left on the clock. So Einar managed to get it right this time. He first beats Miko's blade, keeping his attention high, causing a diversion. Then he strikes the leg and manages to get out before Miko responds. However, he strikes the ground, and that is a penalty. And when you get a penalty, you will not score in that exchange. So even though Einar figured out how to do the leg cut without getting hit, he managed to mess it up. So we'll see if he gets it right. He's trying for it again. But that was the right thing. He beat the blade first to get his attention high so that he could strike low. That was really interesting to see that change of strategy. We have another head hit, 3-3, no score. There we go again. Einar this time he waited for timing. He didn't hesitate. He went in immediately to the exchange, hit the leg when Miko was not paying attention. He caught him snoozing, then he got out of distance again. The score is now 4-1 in Einar's favor. Another exchange of blows, but I think it was in Miko's favor because Miko hits the head, Einar hits the torso. So now we have 1 point to Miko. The score is now 4-2 in Einar's favor. We see a strike to the head from Miko. There's an attempted response from Einar. Right, blue's hit was not sufficient, so we have 3 points to Miko. That puts him in the lead at 5-4 with 26 seconds left on the clock. Let's see if Einar can get any more of those leg hits in. He's going for an ascending cut. It misses. He attacks again. They parry. They both riposte at the same time. Once again, we have 3-2 in Miko's favor. So Miko has figured out that if they're going to do simultaneous hits, he needs to hit deep target every time to get the advantage. Right, so now Einar hits Miko in the mask and parries the afterblow, giving him 3 points. The score is now 7-6 in Einar's favor. We have 12 seconds left on the clock. We're about to go into last exchange. If Einar keeps his lead, he'll win, but Miko can still turn this around. We are in last exchange now. Einar strikes the leg. Miko responds to the arm and tempo, but it is Einar's win. He gets gold. That must feel really good. Miko is incredibly tough. Really, really tough. Einar wins, bringing gold home to Sweden. That was, I gotta say, that was really, really cool to see him kind of fail at those attempted leg strikes, and I thought that he should just abandon it, but he figured it out. He found a way to make it work for him, and it ended up winning him the gold. So sometimes you do have to just keep trying the same strategy. Okay, we're moving on to, sorry, my mistake. That was the bronze fight. He was bringing bronze home to Sweden, not gold. Now we have the gold fight. We have, in red, we have Miro Lahtela from Finland, who was just commentating with me. In blue, we have Villemäki, also from Finland, from EHMS, in the blue corner. Club mates, they know each other very well. So we're starting out with with 3 points for Villa. A number of blade beats. Miro is attempting to find his way in. Villa is very calmly parrying all of those attacks. It looks like Miro was able to break through one of the parries. And indeed, he cuts through Villa's guard, hitting him in the shoulder, giving him 2 points. So the score is now 3-2 in Villa's favor. 54 seconds left on the clock. We have strike to the leg, riposte to the head, afterblow to the head rather. The score is now 4-2. All right, we have a Molinet, a parry, and an attack to the forearm from Miro, which lands. We see a number of attacks which are parried, exchanges back and forth. In the end, Villa cuts through to Miro's head. It seems like the judge saw an attack from Miro as well. Okay, so we have Villa hitting the head for 3 points, Miro hitting the arm for 2 points, giving 1 point to Villa. The score is now 6-4 in Villa's favor. We have 10 seconds left on the clock, so Secretariat is about to call last exchange. Villa needs to hold his score to win this exchange, to win this round. Let's see what Miro does to try to make up those 2 points. Okay, Villa attacking high, Miro parrying it. We see a number of attack parries. I didn't see anything land. Okay, so the ref sees that Miro cut through Villa's attack, cut through Villa's parry, landing on the head. So Miro wins the first round with 7-6. Very close. And these guys, they spar together a lot, so I'm not surprised that they have such a close first bout there. So Villa is more of a saber fencer, so whereas in Rapier and Dagger, in his final there earlier on, he was having more fun playing around, changing up his strategy. He does actually train saber, so you see him fighting very clean, very nice saber. He's standing in a very low stance, like kind of a deep squat. He has his offhand, his left hand on his hip. He's doing a series of very tight, clean parries, so he's not over parrying, he's just parrying just enough. And if Miro likes to do a series of combinations where he attacks, and Villa is very good at staying steady and just parrying those patiently waiting for his opening. So I really like his style of fighting. Miro is great at putting on pressure. He's great at cutting through the parry with nice, strong cuts. He's good at cutting where you don't think he's going to, right? Like you have your classic like cut at a diagonal in saber, and he'll change the angle so that he'll cut a little bit off from where you think he's going to, which means he's able to find the weak point of your blade on your parry and cut through your parry. He's very good at that. Now we're starting the second round. Villa won the first, so Miro needs to win this round to keep the fight going. We see Villa attack and miss, and Miro takes advantage of that and cuts in response and lands on Villa's shoulder, giving him 2 points. So the ref and the judge disagreed on what happened there, so they're throwing it out, redoing the exchange. I think that's the right call. To me, it was also unclear what happened. We see an attack from Villa, very easily parried by Miro. Miro has a strong guard, but Villa was able to break through it with an ascending cut this time, granting him 2 points. Parry riposte from Villa, 2 points. Score is now 4-2 in Villa's favor with 45 seconds left. Villa has a high guard. Miro is attempting to cut below it. And we have more ascending cuts from that high guard from Villa, which has been working for him. We have a very patient parry riposte from Miro. That was lovely. So now the score is even, 4-4, 30 seconds left. We have last exchange, and the tie is the score is tied at 4-4, so it could go either way. We see a parry riposte from Villa, but Miro did strike again at the same time. So Miro wins the second round. He wins the first round as well. For some reason I thought that went to Villa, but I was wrong. So Miro wins this gold by just fighting 2 rounds. So good job for him. Now we're done with Sabre. We're moving into the Longsword Championship. So we have Rolands from Latvia and Vinces from Lithuania who will be fighting. They'll be doing 5 rounds of 1 minute. With stop time. And we will have the Finns, who we just saw fighting in the finals, reffing and judging that to keep the Baltics out of the scoring process.
So, hi, this is Rain is joining the live commentary team, and while you're waiting, your Sabre gold medal winner to return to commentary, and I'm sure Kristine will have a lot of interesting questions to Miro about his exploits in that gold fight, but that should not detract from the main event, that is the Baltic Longsword Championship final.
Yes, exactly. So a little bit more about these guys. Vinces, as I mentioned, he's from Freifekte Vilnius, and he's been fighting for 2 to 3 years, so he's a up-and-comer. Longsword is his main weapon, but he also does saber and, interestingly, Spanish rapier, which you don't get a lot of in Northern Europe. So I asked him what he did to prepare for this, and he said that after winning the qualifiers in Lithuania, which he had to beat 7 people to do, they had their own local tournament in Lithuania, which he also won. So he has been kind of like mentally preparing by fighting in tournaments already, so that he kind of has his head on straight. And he's done a lot of physical prep, and he said that he has been reworking his fencing style as well. So like physically staying fit, but also thinking a lot about how he wants to fence and what he wants to do differently.
I think he mentioned that he had to take a break from HEMA because he had to do his mandatory military service. Is that correct?
He did. So he's only been actually fighting for 2 years in a 3-year period of time. So he is really quite new and progressing quite fast.
So he's good in combat both with firearms and swords, it seems.
Yeah, so I would stay on his good side.
For sure. I remember when he came to the very first event as well, and completely fresh-faced young fencer, and now it's excellent to see him at our third event, and so very looking forward to this final.
Yeah, and he actually has a very brief background in sport fencing, but even a brief background in sport fencing is very, very helpful to HEMA, I would say. I also have a brief background in sport fencing, and it's given me like all the difference in how I fence. So,
yeah, I would like to almost disagree with this one, because it's almost like a thing that people say to put you down, like, oh, you're just a sport fencer. And I think I did Olympic sport fencing for 1 year, and people have like kept it against me for such a long time.
well, I think that with some people, when they say that you're just a sport fencer, I don't think they're referring to actual Olympic sport fencing. I think they're referring to a style of fencing, and a lot of people are accused of being sporty fencers who have never done sport fencing before. I would say that having done sport fencing, and a lot of people will keep this to themselves because of the stigma that you just mentioned, it does give you a lot in terms of timing and footwork, and it's in physicality as well, because it's a lighter weapon, so you can kind of go harder for longer. So he has that sport fencing background. When it comes to his style of fencing, he likes to provoke with aggressive actions. So I'm curious to see how that will play out against Rollins, who's quite patient.
Yeah.
And Rollins, on the other hand, likes to do a parry-riposte game, which you see in Poland, and he's training out of Krakow, as I mentioned before, and that's really how they fight there. So it'll be interesting to see those two styles again mash up.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It will be very interesting to see what Vince has changed, because earlier today in the pool fights, Rollins beat Vince's. So this is the chance for Vince's to change the game, shuffle the deck. Maybe he can come up with some new tricks. Very excited to see that.
And Rollins, he just won gold in Rapier and Dagger, so he's on a high. He was obviously very excited by that. You saw he was quite emotional and very happy. And I'm curious to see how or if that impacts his mental game fighting longsword. Is he going to be more kind of amped because of that? Is he going to be... Some people get, if they've already had a win, they feel good and they kind of start to lose their focus. But I think Rollins is very, very focused. He really wants this. He mentioned to me that when you mentioned, you started floating the idea of doing this championship a year ago, and before it even came to fruition, the thought stuck in his mind, and it's been his goal for the past year, and it's all he's been thinking about.
So he better be switched on. But I know that one, that false sense of security, like, oh, they have a medal, maybe it's enough, and that's such a dangerous thought. And,
it is.
And Rollins cannot allow this, you know. He's here to win, he's thirsty, but I don't think Vince is going to make it easy for him. So
no, of course not. Vince's, I mean, because I spoke to Rollins, and he's been switched on and he's been training, but so has Vince's. He's been also thinking about this. He's also been watching video footage of Rollins and of Dimitri to prepare for his competition. So everybody here is taking this seriously.
And
everybody's ready.
I heard that Vince's is fighting through a small injury in his left hand, and nothing that would disqualify him from this event, but he's so dedicated, he's fighting through pain just to be here and do his best. And honestly, some people fight the best when there's like a slight injury and everything that kind of puts their focus off.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think he switched on, and since he is such a focused fencer, I can imagine he will be changing his strategy, or he should at least.
He should
to fight Rollins. But Rollins mentioned earlier that he views himself as a very adaptive fencer. So when I asked him about his fencing style, he said he doesn't have one particular style. He does that provoke, parry, riposte, which a lot of poles do.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think our judging team is finally in the ring. Can you tell us more about the team that will be judging? And meanwhile, I will try to get your gold medal commentator back in action.
Great, thank you. Okay, so as I was saying, Rollins likes to adapt. So even if Vince says changes his style and adapts to whatever Rollins did before, Rollins will be adapting to him again, or so he says that he will do. So we'll see how that works out. Miro is back.
I'm back.
Fresh from winning a gold medal. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
We're wearing matching sweaters.
That's the camera over there.
We're wearing matching sweaters. We coordinated this.
Yes.
Miro's girlfriend knitted these.
Okay.
Okay, so we have our Finnish judging team back. We have Minna Vasarainen as a judge. We have Mikko Lahtela, and we have.
No, we have Mikko Lehto
Oh, sorry.
as the referee and
Mikko
Ville
Lehto.
Välimäki as the judge. Yes.
But I got your first names right. And Villa.
Okay. So Latvia, Poland versus Lithuania.
Yeah, so Rolands is fighting for Latvia. It's evident by his flag and by his forearms are made by a local Latvian artist, and they have like Latvian kind of like traditional symbols on them. But he's training out of Krakow, so he considers himself like a Polish fencer in that sense.
Okay, with the resounding fence, we get this thing on way. Okay. So Roland's fighting from a point up guard, whereas Vincent's going for a point forward guard. So as we saw in the previous match, there's provocations from Roland's, getting hands moving and then punishing an attack. And there we see a cut to the arms from Roland's, starting this with 2-0. Okay, there's the provocation parry post that leads into a rally. The judges see 2 points for Vinces. Again, now Vinces adopts a lower guard. So I really like what Rollins is doing with this, which like shallow cuts, lulling Vincent into a false sense of security, and then going for a little bit deeper cut to a shallow target. Okay, 4-2 to Rolands, and going to the last exchange of this round. We will indeed have 5 rounds, or best of 5 rounds.
Best of 5,
Yeah.
1 minute each.
Okay. That is 3 points to Vinces, but there is a... But wait, there is a protest. Okay. So let's see if we have a change of score. Okay, there's a protest that is accepted, meaning that Rolands wins this round 4-3. So this was a lot tighter than the pool match they had. I think Vince has made the correct adaptations of pushing a little bit more and allowing Rolands, allowing the fight to go to these longer rally exchanges where you can catch your opponent unawares.
Yeah, because I think Rolands is good in the shorter game where he does that parry, that provoke parry hit. But when he comes into longer exchanges, I think that Roland is stronger when he moves out of distance rather than staying in creek, whereas Vinces seems to be strong in the creek.
Yeah.
So
Which
now,
is also evident because Vinces is a shorter fencer, and typically shorter
Exactly.
fencers want to fight in a closer range.
of course, yeah. And Rolands, to me, from his body language after the first round, looked uncomfortable with how close that was, and only winning on a protest.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he adapts now.
Okay.
Vince is looking strong.
There is action from both. Yes. Yes. So it is scored 2 points for blue, and red action is considered,
Or he's acknowledging a hit.
yes, which was already considered of no quality. Yes. So the score stands 2-0.
So he acknowledged the hit, but it was discarded by the ref.
Yes, because the ref already said that the hit was seen and it was of low quality, so he stands by his initial standing. Okay, now Ron's going for the provocations in the hands again. pushing backwards. Okay. Again, this longer rally, and there's a cut to the head from Vincas inside this rally.
I would say Rollins needs to move out of distance quicker
Yes,
to
yeah,
avoid
yeah,
that, because it's
yeah.
not the first intention, not the second, but the
Yeah,
third or
the
fourth from
yeah.
Vincas.
So the score is now 5-0 for Vincents.
And there is 23 seconds left on the clock, so Rollins needs to
Really.
get some deep
And
target.
now he's really trying to push the action, try to get his hands moving. There we go. A provocation, a cut to the hands from Rollins. Moving the score to 2-5. 14 seconds left.
So that's what's interesting about. Go ahead. No, having these 5 rounds, so that even if Vincas wins the second round, there's still, a number of rounds left that they can kind of go back and forth and adapt.
Yeah. Here we see Vincents going for a thrust, missing and touching. Roland's punishing down, so now it's 4-5, last exchange. Again a rally, and in this rally, we see Vincents going for the cut above and now to the hands, winning the round. So round goes 7-4 to blue. So now we really see that Roland needs to find some kind of adaptation to keep the fight from being in these longer exchanges.
Yeah, that's working for Vincas. There's no reason for him to change that.
Yeah.
Rollins, however, will need to get more distance or have strong first intention thrusts. He's actually really good at those. We'll see if he pulls them out.
Yeah.
I saw him do them in Slovakia.
Yeah, and here we get into play with this. Like Rollins has already a final behind him, so is this going to start taxing his cardio? Does he have the conditioning to keep going? And then not only physical conditioning, but head. Like how is your brain in the game after X amount of bouts?
Yeah.
So again, there's a feeling out process. Again, Vincent's having the point in line, Rollins having the center line open. They're measuring distance, going backward. You can see both are getting more timid as the rounds go by. So still no score. We have 30 seconds left, so half of this round has already gone.
It seems they're both hesitant to, we have a nice thrust from Vincas.
There is an action from red. So Rollins misses a cut from below and Vincent drills a thrust into the face, so 3-0. Okay, so there's a rolling cut from above to the hands from Vincent. Yes, so the score is 5-0 to Vincent. Okay, now there's a parry post from Roland to the torso.
In our last exchange, Rollins will need a deep target hit to even it out at least.
Yeah. Okay, there's a parry post to the hand.
I think there was an afterblow.
And at least there's an attempt of an afterblow. Okay, so there's a chamber, so afterblow is considered late. That's 2 points.
But not
to
enough
red,
to win the
but not-
round.
Yeah, it's still. Yeah, and this is one of the benefits of throwing it in a fire when you're leading with 3 points. People will get a snap decision and attack just a target that is available.
Yeah.
And then it's typically hands because or a shallow target is always there. But if it's not enough to win, then.
So you have to be really focused on that deep target when that's the number of points you need to make up the round. So.
And then you ideally want to be the one leading the action, not going backwards, not working in the after. Okay, so it's 2 rounds to 1 for Vincent. Okay, so there's an attack and a parry post. Okay, that is 2 points each. Both land. Okay, again, Roland looking for his provocations. They worked in the first round. Let's see how they're working now. Okay. The score is still 0-0 with 30 seconds left. Now Vincent's taking some ground. high. Again into a rally and an undercut, a lower cut to the arms, getting him a 2-point lead. But there's some kind of protest going on. So there's some contact, evidently from Rollins as well at some point in the exchange. Okay, so there's a cut from the red that was missed by the judges, meaning that the score is going to be 1-0 to red. So Rollins goes to the lead with 1 point with 16 seconds left of this round. So if he wins this round, we're going to go to the last...
Into the fifth round, yeah.
Yeah. So again, now Rollins is pushing, Vincent is accepting, going backwards, just on the edge of the mat. Okay, now he gets... Okay.
Oh, that was a nice little sneaky hand hit there.
Hand hit, yeah, like while moving backwards, in a hesitation, cutting the hands, winning the round. So now we're 2-2 in rounds, with a very, very tight round. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this last round goes.
Oh, we have a glove thrown or something thrown, or...
Oh, it was a water bottle that
a water bottle.
Slid into the...
Which slid into oblivion in the
Yes,
corner
yeah.
there. Gone forever.
Yeah.
Into the depths of Latvia.
Yes.
Who knows what's on
Who
the other
knows
side of that
what it is?
partition.
Yes, yeah. Maybe there's a sports fashion tournament there. So.
Okay, so we have our last round. Both have won 2 rounds. It was nice to see Rollins actually hold his own in that last exchange in a rally, actually,
Yeah,
and do a number of
yeah.
parries, a clean hand hit,
Yeah.
and get out of distance again. So he needed that backward
Yeah,
footwork.
Okay, here we go. Again with the similar setup, point forward from Vincent and point a little bit higher from Roland. Okay, a rally.
Same thing.
Yeah, enough backwards movement and a cut to the arms from Rollins.
So it
So
seems
that
like
is
you
2
figured out what
points.
to do against those
Yes,
rallies.
yeah, yeah.
Move back, get out of the way.
Don't stay in the fight, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see, there's now Vincent has the should maybe try to engage more, push the exchange closer so he gets a rally he wants. But then again, Rollins knows this, so he's going to be moving backwards.
Yeah, he switched his feet on.
Yeah.
We have 27 seconds left. 2-0 in Roland's favor.
So I know Roland's coach in Poland is quite prominent with his one-handed cuts, so it is very possible when you go to last exchange we see him throw. He's been thinking about it a couple of times, letting go with the right hand. Okay, last exchange 2-0, Roland's leading. His provocations being thrown. So this is going to be the very last exchange. Unless Vincent gets a 2-pointer. Oh, and there is a fallen opponent, so let's see.
It looked like there was a hand
There
hit
might
from
have been a
Rollins on the
hit.
way out.
Don't
The
know
judges
about
disagree with each
quality.
other.
Okay. Okay, so because it's an important call, because this can basically decide who wins, they're gonna discuss it. I think the main things they're gonna be discussing is that is Roland's cut, there is some contact, is it of quality?
Right.
And then okay, if it's not of quality, then it should be 3 points to Vincent and he should win the match. But if it's of quality,
So Rollins wins because
So
he wins by 1 point.
yes. So that means Rollins wins and becomes the Baltic Longsword fencing champion.
That was very close. I think it could have gone either way there.
Yeah. Like literal millimeters apart from who wins.
And he's very happy. I
Very
think
good.
Vince has fought very honorably as well. He gave
Yes.
away points when they were meant to be given away.
Yeah. And very nice. This fencing was rather clean. There's
It was,
not a lot of just clashing and hoping. There was this rallies that were maintained, parry post from
Yeah.
either side. So now we move on to the medal ceremony, I guess.
We move on to the medal ceremony, so I
Yes.
think our work here is done.
Yeah.
We don't need to commentate the
Yes.
giving of the medals on the
Yes.
neck, so.
It's gonna be, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching, and thank you, Kristine, for letting me talk with you.
Thank you, Miro, for being in my presence.
Yeah,
for,
it's always an honor.
for being in my accepting an audience with me.
Yeah, good.
Look at our trophies. If the camera can pan onto the trophies, if the cameraman is listening,
Okay.
the cameraman is not listening. We have amazing trophies. Stick around, watch the medal ceremony, and you'll get a glimpse of them.
Yes.
Goodbye and good night and good luck and all that.
Good night and good fight.
Good night and good fight.
There you go.
Okay, so I was instructed to come back and commentate these medal ceremonies. First we have Okay, third place for Rapier and Dagger, Henrikinse from Sweden, from Spiff. He gets a fabulous bronze medal made by a local artist. It's 3D printed of like a fencer with a rapier and dagger basically, and it's spray painted bronze. It's very cool. All right, we have Ville in second place, wearing his famous spacey cat shirt. And we have a similar trophy. It's a rapier and dagger dude, but he's painted silver. Very exciting. And Roland's from Krakow Fencing School, gold medal, his first of 2 gold medals of the night. He gets another amazing rapier trophy, but spray painted gold. So I hope you get a close-up of these later, because they're very cool. It's a mystery what's in those prize envelopes they have, but I know, so I can tell you. I'm not sure who got what, but I can tell you that somebody got a gorget from Vitis from Lithuania. These are, and I'm not sponsored, these are the best gorgets on the market. We have also Siggy sponsoring our fighters with a 15% discount. And we have Spes, who is giving away 50 euro vouchers. PBT is also giving away a number of vouchers. And we have another sponsor. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's MS, and they're giving away some really cool shirts. Okay, here we have our silver medalist, Ugne from Lithuania, draped in the Lithuanian flag. The bronze medal went to Linda from HEMA Riga in Latvia. Gold medal goes to Minna Vasarainen from Finland. And all 3 of them are getting vouchers. So again, I don't know who got the Spes, who got the Siggy, who got the PBT, who got the Vitis, who got the MS, but they're all very good prizes. So thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring us. Now we are moving on to the open saber. That was women's plus saber. So in third place from Spiff in Sweden, we have Einar Lundgren. He has his little bronze Sabre dude and a mystery voucher there in the envelope. Ville is back with his Spacey Cat shirt with a mystery voucher and a cool little silver Sabre dude. And here we have my fellow commentator, Miro, winning gold in Sabre. Look at his very cool sweater. Now we're moving on to Longsword, the grand finale of the evening. The Baltic, not only like the local Latvian champion, but the Baltic Longsword champion. Third place, Estonia, Dimitri. I won't say his last name because I'll butcher it. He gets bronze with a cool little bronze longsword dude. Let me tell you, these trophies were 3D printed and they are very detailed. So those longswords are so long and thin and delicate and prone to breaking. So this is a very this trophy is a work of art and you have to be very careful with it. Okay, so we have back on the podium from Lithuania, Vinces with his silver medal trophy. And then once again for gold, Rollins from Krakow, but also from HEMA Riga, winning the first ever Baltic Longsword Championship. Good job, Rollins. Congratulations on your cool gold longsword dude and your mystery voucher. And once again, thank you to our sponsors, PBT, Spes, Siggy, Vittis, and MS. Once again, I will say thank you and good night, and I will take my leave. For the last time, we're gonna go drink and be merry. Goodbye.
I used to have a flat top.